This is going to be a summary of the arithmetic sequences, and I'm going to go through what an arithmetic sequence is again, how to find the terms, and so on. So first of all, an arithmetic sequence is if we have a series of numbers such as 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, and so on, we can start to see that there's a pattern going on. We call this an arithmetic sequence when every successive term is just either plus the same term or minus the same term every single time. And we can see from this one, every single time we go up a term, it is just plus 3, and plus 3, and so on. We call this an arithmetic sequence. It could be minus as well. So if I start off at 2, and every time I minus 4, the next term will be negative 2, and then it will be negative 6, and then it will be negative 10, and so on. Every single term is subtract 4, subtract 4, subtract 4, and so on. We call these arithmetic sequences. So first of all, we need to find the common difference, okay? And the common difference is every single term has the same difference, meaning that if I go from term 1 to term 2, term 2 to term 3, term 3 to term 4, then it will have the same common difference. By the way, these are called terms. So the first term is T1. We also call this A. Okay, this is T1. We call this A, and then this will be T2. This is T3. This is T4, and so on. Okay, so this is T2, T3, T4, and so on. The common difference in a sequence, if we look at 13, that's the second term, and we look at 16 as the first term, we just have to subtract, okay? So we're going to do T2 minus T1. That's the common difference, and we call the common difference D. And we're just going to substitute in some numbers. 13 minus 16 will give us a common difference of 3. Of course, you can just look at the sequence and determine it yourself. You go 16 to 13 is minus 3. 13 to 10 is minus 3, and so on. So if you can just look at the sequence and know the common difference, you can do that. Or you can just do T2 minus T1, or T3 minus T2, or T4 minus T3, or so on. Now, moving on to class example 2, we need to be able to determine whether a sequence is an arithmetic sequence. So an arithmetic sequence will be a sequence where all the terms will be added or subtracted by the same difference, same number. So if we look at this, 2 to 4 plus 2, 4 to 6 plus 2, 6 to 8 plus 2. So this is arithmetic, and the common difference is 2. Now, if we look at half to quarter, that's going to be minus 1/4. But then from this, from 1/4 to 1/8, if I do 1/8 minus 1/4, it's actually subtract 1/8. So it is not a common difference. So this is not arithmetic. Next, if we look at minus 10 to minus 4, it is plus 6. Minus 4 to 2 is also plus 6. 2 to 8 is also plus 6. So this is arithmetic. And the common difference is 6. Next, for D, we start with 4. If we go plus 4, it's going to be 8. But from 8 to 16 is plus 8. And from 16 to 32 is plus 16. It is not arithmetic, okay? So this is how we tell if a sequence is arithmetic or not arithmetic. If it has a common difference that it adds the same number every single time, it is arithmetic. Moving on to class example 3, we want to find the first term and the common difference, okay? Now, this is important in the future. If we look at a series of numbers, a sequence of numbers, if we know the first term and we know the common difference, we'll be able to find the general term. So if I ask us what is the 50th term or what is the 100th term, we'll be able to put that in our calculator straight away from a formula. So first term, A, is negative 8. That's very simple. And then from negative 8 to 2, that's plus 10. From 2 to 12 is also plus 10. So the common difference is 10. Okay, let's have a look at this one. The first term, A, is 15. And then the common difference is minus 5, minus 5, minus 5. So that's going to be negative 5. Now, why are these important? Because in an arithmetic sequence, the general term Tn is going to be the first term plus n minus 1, which is the nth term subtract 1, times the common difference. This is the general formula for the nth term of an arithmetic sequence. Arithmetic sequence. And so if we want to use this formula for specific examples, we're going to have to know what A is. And A is the first term. And D is the common difference. And of course, Tn will be the nth term. Okay? Where n is our desired term number. So let's have a look at class example 4, and we're going to use this formula, okay? Consider the arithmetic sequence -6, -1, 4, 9. Determine the formula for the general term. So first of all, we know that Tn is A plus n minus 1d. And so we know what A is, okay? So A is -6. That's the first term. And then D, the common difference, from -6 to -1, that's plus 5. From -1 to 4 is plus 5. And so I know the common difference is 5. So Tn is going to be -6 plus n minus 1. And D is going to be 5. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to remove the brackets. So we're going to distribute the 5 back into the brackets. So Tn is equal to -6 plus 5n minus 5, and then -6 and -5, we need to combine like terms. So overall, Tn is equal to -11 plus 5n. Now we can double check our work to make sure it is correct by putting n into the sequence. So if I put 1, this is the first term. Remember, -6 is the first term. 1, so -11 plus 5 will be -6. That's correct. If I put in 2 into my formula, so -11 plus 10 will be -1. That's -1. Okay, so that's how I know it's correct. So determine the value of the 12th term. So we want to do T of 12. That's going to be -11 plus 5 of 12. And that's going to be -11 plus 60, which is going to be 49. Okay, so the 12th term is 49. Moving on to a different example. This time, we're not given the number of terms, but we're giving the last term of the sequence. So this is the Tn. This is the last term. And we want to figure out how many terms there are. What is that nth term? What is n? Okay, so right now we don't know. And so we have the common difference though. 3 to -1 is -4. -1 to -5 is -4. We have the first term. So A is 3. D is -4, which means that the general term Tn is going to be 3 plus n minus 1 times -4. And let's go ahead and expand that bracket first. That's 3 minus 4n. Minus 4 times -1 is plus 4, which simplifies to 7 minus 4n. So that's the general term of this form of the sequence. Now, I know my last term is -117. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this and place that into Tn. Okay, so if I put that into Tn, I have -117 is equal to 7 minus 4n. And I want to find out what that n number is. So just using algebra, I'm going to put 4n over here. That's 7 plus 117. And so 7 plus 117. That's 124, and then divide both sides by 4. We'll get n equals to 31. So I know that it is the 31st term. So find the number of terms. So 31. That is the answer of this question. Next question. If at any time you feel that I'm talking too fast, you can pause the video. You can go backwards. You can just use your own pace. I'm just trying to move through as quick as possible because I want to keep the video as short as possible. Place 3 arithmetic means between -4 and 8. Now, I wanted us to visualize this in a good way first. So if I have -4 over here and have 8 over here, we want to put 3 numbers in between. So from -4, we need to add some amount of numbers, and then we'll get to 8. So we need to plus a common difference, plus a common difference, plus a common difference, plus a common difference. That's 4D. So -4 plus 4D is equal to 8. Okay, so we started at -4, we added the same difference 4 times, so that's 4D, and then we get to 8. So even though we're only placing 3 numbers in between, we need to multiply it by 4 because the 4th time we get to 8. So we can use some algebra to do this. 4D is equal to 12. So D is equal to 3. And so every time we're adding 3, okay? So -4 plus 3 is -1. And then plus 3 is 2. Plus 3 is 5. And then plus 3 is 8. Okay? Next, example 7. Now this is considered a hard one, but once you get the hang of it, it's fairly simple. I know the video is running a little bit long. Just bear with me for a moment. So it says, consider these 3. So this is term 1, this is term 2, and this is term 3. Okay, this is an arithmetic sequence, which means that every single time we have the same common difference plus D and plus D. Now, in order for us to figure out what the common difference is, we don't actually need to know that, but it's the same. From term 1 to term 2, I add the same D. From term 2 to term 3, I also add the same D, which means that I can use that to my advantage. T3 minus T2 is going to be D. T2 minus T1 is also D, so I can set them as equal to each other. So if I do 2x plus 1, that's T3 minus T2. T2 is over here, 3x minus 1, and this is going to be equal to 3x minus 1 t2 minus t1, which is x plus 2. Okay, so generally we want to do t3 minus t2 equals to t2 minus t1. This is how we do all sorts of these similar questions. Okay, so expanded brackets, 2x plus 1 minus 3x plus 1. Remember, minus times minus is positive, equals to 3x minus 1 minus x minus 2. Combine the like terms, so 2x minus 3x is negative x, plus 1 is plus 2, equals to 3x minus x is 2x, and then minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3, and then move the x over, so that's 3x, and then minus 3 move over is 5. And so x is going to be 5 over 3. It's not a nice number, but that's okay. And so our first 3 terms determine the numerical values of the 3 terms. We're going to put x back into our original sequence. So that's going to be 2 and 5 over 3 plus 2, as you can use your calculators. 5 over 3, and then plus 2, that's going to be 3 and 2/3. And then the next one is 3 times 5 over 3 minus 1, which is going to be 4. And then the next one, 2 times 5 over 3, and then plus 1, and we get 4 and 1/3. And so you can see every single time we're only adding 1/3, adding 1/3. Okay, so these are the 3 terms of the sequence. I think there's one last example over here, so I'll get through it. The 3rd term and the 8th term of an arithmetic sequence is 12 and -8 respectively. So we're given T3 equals to 12, and T8 is equal to -18. So whenever you see these sorts of questions, you'll need to use this formula. You have to remember this one. This is not given to you. The common difference, D, is going to be TQ minus TP divided by Q minus P. This is how we find a common difference. This is the Qth term, and this is the Pth term. So where the Qth term is the later term, and TP is the earlier term, and this is the term number. So Q would be the 9th term or the 8th term. P will be the 3rd term. So let's go ahead and put these numbers into our formula. The common difference D is equal to TQ, which is -18, minus T3, TP, which is 12, divided by 8 minus 3. Okay, so let me just quickly highlight the relevant things. So this is T8, this is -18, so this is going to be T8, this is going to be 8. And then this is going to be T3 and 12, So this is t3, and this is 3, okay? And so work that out. Negative 18 divided minus 12 is going to be negative 30. Negative 30 divided by 5, negative 30 divided by 5 is going to be negative 6. So the common difference is negative 6. Every single time we go through a term, we're going to minus 6, minus 6, minus 6, okay? And so once we find the common difference, we now have to find the first term because that's not given to us. Now, we don't know what the first term is, so A is actually missing for us. But I do know the 8th term, I do know the 3rd term, so I can put those numbers into my general formula. Remember the general formula Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1d. And so I don't know what A is, but I do have Tn, I do have the nth term, and I do have the common difference. Okay, so I can put all of those into the general formula. So let's just use T3 as an example. So T3, which is 12, is equal to A plus 3rd term, so 3 minus 1, and the common difference is negative 6. And all I have to do is solve the equation. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 or minus 12. So 12 equals to A minus 12. Move minus 12 to the other side, so that's 24 equals to A. And so our general term, Tn, is equal to 24 plus n minus 1, and the common difference is negative 6. Let's go ahead and expand these numbers in here. And so the general term Tn is 24 minus 6n plus 6. And so plus 6, that will be 30, okay? 30 minus 6n. Okay, let's go ahead and double check our values. If I put in 3 into n, 6 times 3 is 18. 30 minus 18 is 12, and that is exactly correct. Okay, if I put in 8 into there, t of 8, so 30 minus 6 times 8, I will get negative 18, and that is also correct. Okay, so now we're asked to find the 5th term of the sequence. So we're going to put t5 into the formula. T5 is equal to 30 minus 6 times 5, which is also 30, and so that's going to be 0. Okay, so that is it for this lesson. I know it's a little bit long, but there was a lot in this lesson. Okay, thank you.